I can hear it now. Band take the field, and out of that eastern tunnel pour 215 well-drilled, well-disciplined Michigan bandsmen. They pour over the eastern sideline, they pour in the big block in, and they play the greatest college fight song ever written.
Seth, how you doing?
Bunt, you idiot, bunt! I'm trying to tell you to bunt.
I saw the signs. They were a little confusing, but I'm not much of a genius. I'm not much of a manifesto guy.
All right, well, that's everyone should have a manifesto. I can't believe people are like people don't have manifestos.
Yeah,
like, what happens if you
surprising.
one day, if you and I are in charge of the Michigan football program and we don't have a manifesto, like we'll just be aimless. We'll be adrift. We won't know what we're doing. We don't even know our signs.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, enough of that. How's everything going, Seth? You doing good?
Yeah. I booked it to New Orleans for the weekend and kind of missed everything. Everyone went nuts when I was gone. So, hi.
All right. Well, we got Purdue this weekend. Night game. Hopefully it doesn't snow as much as it did here on Halloween. But what are we talking about this week?
I want to talk about Purdue. I want to talk about Ryan Walters has a very interesting defense, and I thought I would introduce it to you guys just because it works a little. I mean, it works not too dissimilarly from Michigan's. I can't tell all of it because he's got certain like weird rules. In fact, I should pull this up. This is an article when he first started working for Purdue, where like they asked him to talk about his defense, and he's like, defense is more unusual. Doesn't even have a name. Like I got to think of a name for it. And because of this article, it turned into, or this meeting, it turned into the no-name defense. You see here it says, he keeps the secret recipe like the formula for Coke in his pocket. So like we don't even know what the secret recipe is for this thing. It's a 5-1 or a 5-2, or basically what it is here's the sorry, I don't have this completely edited yet, but I was drawing this up because this is going to be used for the preview or the faux film previews. And you can see they like to have 5 guys in the line for 5 offensive. It's basically just an extreme man defense. All right, so you're going to have guys matched up here. You're going to have one for any threat is going to have one guy, and then they'll have one high. Kind of wanted to show you how this works in practice. Here they are against Ohio State. Okay, 5 guys on the line of scrimmage, right? So it's basically a 5-1 defense, or if you put more guys in the backfield, they're just going to keep on adding dudes. All right, and the idea is you're going to have cornerbacks, pure man, right? Nickel, pure man. You're going to have one safety on top, okay? And everybody else is reacting. So you're going to have linebackers reacting to what's in the backfield. You're going to have line reacting to what's on the offensive line. That way, I mean, it's just pure man. We're matching up every single guy we can. And finally, like the quarterback's going to be protected by the safety. I kind of wanted to go back to this one. All right. So you watch, everybody's matched up with somebody in the backfield, right? I've got the running back. This linebacker, running back. Okay. Tight end who was split out wide. Okay. That linebacker is on the tight end. Whatever he moves, he's going to get exactly where everybody's got their spot. All these guys have their linemen. Now, there's a little bit of switching that goes on, and I drew it up for you. All right, so here's that play we just watched. One thing you notice, they sometimes have tackles off the line of scrimmage. I think that so you can be a little bit more reactive if there's a puller or something. And sometimes they also like to switch. So they do a lot of stunts and whatnot to keep things keep messing with you. But usually this is their setup, right? 5 guys from line of scrimmage, 1 man. That was a safety actually for the tight end, linebacker for the running back. You're just matching man on man. And their problem against Ohio State is, this man matchup was not very good for them, right? As soon as Marvin Harrison was out there. But yeah, so man to man, right? These guys are matched up on each other. And then you have everybody responsible for their lineman, like a gap in their line, right? So when this guy goes in motion, it's really simple. These two just kind of swap spots, right? This guy's just going to stay outside, right? He's still on the he's still on the edge, and whatever gap this guy goes in, he's going to be responsible for him. Wherever the running back goes, he's still going to be responsible for him. Okay? And that's how you're going to end up with the way this looks in the end. Now, if you noticed I probably didn't notice, I forgot to point it out, but this tackle, when he went outside, because this is a stretch split zone with an RPO attached to it, when that happened, this guy came inside that tackle. And he has to make sure he keeps that edge when he does that, because now you have an extra blocker out here who's not being accounted for. But that's fine as long as he's got this edge, and he does, and the running back has to cut back, and they get whatever yards they got from the blocking. But that's the system, right? So when we go to use this system,
anybody else run anything like this that you can remember, Seth? Because it does seem pretty unique. There we go.
Michigan runs something kind of like it, yeah.
Yep.
Because Michigan likes to have those. Michigan likes to have all their linemen matched up, like they have use the defensive ends as the edges. They do more to mess with it. Ryan Walters is the one who really took this to an extreme, to like, I'm going to be man on everything. So you can see how he follows him wherever he goes.
Yep.
Now he flips sides. All right, so you're going to have, and there he goes again, right? In motion. Wherever he goes, I'm going. Everybody's got their gaps. And then you can see this. Remember I mentioned they twist, right? So they have a guy who's a little bit off the line of scrimmage, right? And then that's kind of a giveaway that they're going to do twist games with him or something, but he actually flips that. He doesn't twist. He's the other guy who's doing the twist. But that kind of messes things up. And what that does is if you end up starting to block these guys back here instead, because that's how offenses want to work. They want to mess with the linebackers. If you start trying to block the guys,
not much in the second level, huh? With that many guys up at the line of scrimmage, you got 8 guys within 4 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Right, and that's the mistake that most of these teams make, or guys make. Like here, you got Gio Hadi last year, and he's obviously this is Illinois last year because that's where Ryan Walters was coaching. But yeah, Gio Hadi's a freshman or redshirt freshman lineman, and doesn't see the twist, goes out to the linebacker level, and now you've got 2 guys for 1 blocker, and they kill it dead, right? So that this system works very well for what they're trying to accomplish. Here's the same thing again.
Now, I mean, Seth, to me, it seems like a defense like this where you're basically going one-on-one would serve a team better playing it that has the athletes to match up outside. I'm guessing this is the reason that, Purdue gets burned over and over again by a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, and last year they had a really good player who was able to account for it. But yeah, you can see right here, Al-Hadi sees him go, right? Moves down to the linebacker, which is kind of usually what you want to do, and try to get around this guy. But because these guys are twisting, see, they end up on different sides of him. Now, there are different other ways you can mess with this. So see how he goes in motion with him?
Yep.
All right, so anytime you have a guy put in motion, if you have a faster player, this is what happened with Marvin Harrison, obviously, and we did it last year with Ronnie Bell. You got all that space, and then if he misses the tackle. So just like you said, if you have better athletes, you get someone in motion, and now this guy screwed up a little bit too because they're supposed to have levels. I meant to point that out before, but these guys, the way Ryan Walters' defense works technically is he's supposed to have the 30-yard line to himself. He's supposed to have the 28-yard line to himself. When you move across, because you're going to have so many guys in motion like that, he's not supposed to. See how he had it kind of backed up into coverage, and that kind of puts him off and pushes him back and gives you more space to run, and we use that to get around him. But they do have checks. They don't just do the same thing every single time, right? Let's go to the next one here. All right, so now watch similar kind of motion, but watch what the cornerback does. cornerback and safety flip, right? He says, okay, flip, flip, flip. Now you have the safety who's a little bit better at that kind of thing. But you can still mess with that guy. Now watch, he flips. He starts looking to see him pop out the other side. Oops. And now you got your guy all the way over there, right? And there's no protection for him because you messed with their flips. So they'd rather not have to do that too much because, you can screw up their whole thing. Now they have, this guy who's supposed to be on him is all the way up there.
Yeah. And are they flipping there maybe because they think that might be a handoff? They think that was
yeah, well, they're flipping because you don't want to have coming
across.
Well, do you remember before that we had the guy back to this one again. Do you remember the one with Ronnie Bell coming across? This guy gets lost because he's fast, right? You're racing across the whole thing, and all the speed that he has to get across is going to be yardage that you're going to get, right? You're creating space. So Ronnie Bell's speed will create space as this guy moves. If you flip, now you have the safety in a better position. He's coming down from on high. He can actually accelerate better. And see how he's still going. He uses up so much speed because he thinks that he's going to be in charge of Ronnie Bell over on this side. He kind of lost him. But there's other ways to mess with it too. One way that Michigan liked to mess with it and had some success against Illinois early is by just packing more guys on the line. Because when you add more and more dudes, what you're doing is putting more and more guys in positions that they're not used to. And creating a lot more switches. So here's just a ton of dudes in the backfield, right?
Well, yeah, the defense basically has 9 guys in the box too. We've got, yep.
Right. So, play the threat game, right? You're going to have, you have that safety high, right? And now you have a tight end out here who you've added to the line. You have a tight end here, or fullback. So he's probably going to be on him. He's probably going to get the running back. He's going to get this receiver, right? Now, when we start moving, we move all this stuff over here plus a guard. So Michigan's having this, they're using this receiver basically as an extra blocker. And they have all this material going left. And you see everybody's still on their assignments. And everybody, gets outside. So you're going to end up having the same thing. 2 guys to either side of this blocker. Now, the problem is this guy, after all that flipping, loses track of the running back a little bit, thinks he's got to go protect outside, overruns a little bit. He never gets blocked. But Corum cuts back so well that, now he gets blocked. Right, so that's one of the ways that Harbaugh likes to mess with this kind of defensive scheme. Anytime you have these guys moving around the backfield, following their man, that's this man, and he just can't keep up with the way that Corum can cut back. Another way that you like to mess with it is having motion going multiple ways. So here you got Ronnie Bell in motion. Here you get the cornerback following him all the way across, right? So he's going to follow him all the way across. This time we are going to step out. Al-Hadi's going to step out and get this linebacker. He's supposed to be staying on the running back. He loses track of where the ball is. But the idea is he's supposed to switch when he gets locked in behind there. One way we screwed with this, though, is because we had the motion going that way, they're thinking motion that way. He's stepping that way and looking that way. He's watching this tight end. He's supposed to be on the edge and not supposed to give up that. Remember how before how that tackle got way wide against Ohio State and they didn't count for him? And it's fine as long as this guy can cut this off. Now, later in the game, he did this better. He saw this guy coming across him, and when he did, he pushed him in the backfield. That made the running back have to turn around, and then this guy was able to get him. Here, the tight end gets around him. He's still a live blocker. He's basically blocked himself, and now Michigan's got one extra guy. He's still on the tight end. He's supposed to be replacing him on the inside. This guy is running the absolute wrong way, and they get a nice big gain off of it. And then Ohio State, obviously, what they like to do is just man up. So one thing that you get stuck with when Purdue runs this scheme is that it's hard for them to add another guy. Now they do have some interesting blitzes where they'll have like a dog green blitz. I thought I grabbed a dog green over here. Yeah, here. Let me pull this one up again. This one actually had a a dog blitz, which is when the linebacker watches the running back to see what he's doing, right? Because you have these matchups, one-on-one matchups, the way they like to vary things is they have, if your guy does X, you do Y. Okay, so if on this play here, you see this linebacker here, he watches the after they're doing all the motioning, right? He's on the running back. Running back is staying in, I get to blitz. He's coming right up the gut. So that's how they get a lot of their pressures. Now, Ohio State takes advantage of this. The one way that Ryan Walters gets a guy back when he wants to get extra, right? Because he's got that safety high. That's his extra man that he can use. He can use up that safety and go zero. So they give like a cover one look, but they're blitzing. They're bringing this guy and he's replacing and he's going to take that tight end instead. All right, so he actually has a backfield dude. He's responsible for him. He's responsible for him. And now this guy has a two-way go and all this space against Marvin Harrison. But look how much pressure they get. It's very hard to guess where they're coming from because they actually get to pick the lines that they want to go in. They actually will have two guys going through the same gap. So that's why they're able to get such interesting pressures, because they're already one-on-one on all of your offensive linemen. So they can overload your blitz or come at you when you only have a running back there. And they get a lot of nice pressures that way. But they do it by going cover zero. So if you already know and see he's got his eyes, he knows he's going to Marvin Harrison. He's got that one-on-one coverage. Harrison puts a little move on. And boom, as soon as even if he thinks he's got him, that's a true freshman wide receiver. That's Marvin Harrison. And he just puts the ball way out in front and he gets him. So
yeah,
that's
you ran
how you
two
have to
shallows. Yeah, two shallows
Yeah.
on the outside, so you get that matchup. I mean, I think we're gonna probably see some stuff like that to hold number one this weekend.
Yep, and that's what you have to do. You have to win your matchup. So Corum cutting back and beating a guy who's going to, because they're going to have that one running back who's the extra dude who's always watching where he's going, right? The linemen are going to have to beat their guys. You can win a block that way, or double somebody down to a linebacker and put those blocks where they don't want them. You have guys moving across the formation, so if you can actually cut them off with somebody else's block, that's one way to beat them. So there's a lot of ways to beat them, but they all basically come down to, we're going to put our guys against your guys. And last year it worked for Illinois because they had Jerzon Newton, who was winning his blocks consistently. And they had Devin Witherspoon, who was able to cover a lot of guys. They had some good safeties. Purdue does not really have the dudes yet to play like this, and that's why they got shredded by Ohio State. I think Michigan's going to have an okay time with them. But it's going to be really fun to watch this game because it's going to be really beating your man. And I think that our stars are going to do well. I think you're going to have a good game from Roman Wilson. I think Colston Loveland's going to be able to take advantage of some linebackers that he gets in coverage on, or like a smaller safety that gets coverage on. And obviously, this should be a game where the running backs actually have an opportunity to do something and make guys miss and show their abilities, because they're going to get so many of these one-on-one opportunities.
Well, and college football playoff rankings came out last night. We're at number 3, and a lot of that is who we've played, which you can't really control. But
there's a November between now and then. As long as November happens, right, then we're fine. I don't put any stock in those any of those rankings, even the college football rankings right now. They're telling you that they put Michigan number 3 because they're telling you they don't like your schedule. And all the wish casting from Michigan's enemies and all the, oh, look how good we've been against, all these bad teams. Whatever. It doesn't matter. There is a November. We're going to have information when it matters that we don't have now. They're not making the college football playoff based off of some dumb thing. Right now, if they put us 10th or 9th or something like that, then I'd be worried. Because that would be saying that, like, they hate our schedule so much that they're not going to credit us even when we do play Penn State and Ohio State. But we do play Penn State and Ohio State, so we're fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And and you see another lopsided margin of victory this weekend? How are you feeling on that?
I do. I think Michigan's got the offensive firepower to, Purdue can't match up. This year one for Ryan Walters, and he does not have the dudes yet. And then I don't see how Purdue moves the ball consistently. They're an air raid Holgerson offense, so they're going to try to space us out, play a little bit like Minnesota did. Michigan can just bring an extra guy down the box and stop that when they need to, but they're going to be practicing against some air raid principles. So we'll have a couple annoying things, and they'll hit us for a couple little runs on the inside with stretch, like Minnesota did, I think, and then they'll shut that off, and it'll be the end of it.
Well, I felt last weekend without Michigan game on Saturday or Lions game on Sunday, I felt like that meme of Pablo Escobar sitting on the bench. So I'm excited. Although these night games, when you're not going to them, that day takes quite a while. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll have more of the same. As always, great breakdown, Seth. That's it's good to know. Make it more fun to have something extra interesting to watch for, because I don't expect this game to be all that interesting after the middle of the third quarter.
No, but watch the banner ceremony. I'm going to be out there holding the banner.
I'll watch for you. Nice, man. All right. Yep. Well, hey, as always, go Blue. Good talking to you.
See you, Matt.
See ya.